All right. So I was tasked with the reflection, and I can share that now if that's good.
Go for it.
Okay. So some of you may have seen this because I actually I actually saw this on Facebook, but I really liked it. So and it's a Mary Oliver. And so I think most of us are probably familiar with Mary Oliver. It says this was really speaking to me this in the last couple weeks. Teach the children. We don't matter so much, but the children do. Show them daisies and the pale hepatica. Teach them the taste of sassafras and wintergreen, the lives of the blue sailors, mallow, sunbursts, the moccasin flowers, and the frisky ones, inkberry, lamb's quarters, blueberries, and the aromatic ones, rosemary, oregano. Give them peppermint to put in their pockets as they go to school. Give them the fields and the woods and the possibility of the world salvaged from the lords of profit. Stand them in the stream, head them upstream. Rejoice as they learn to love this green space they live in, its sticks and leaves, and then the silent, beautiful blossoms. Attention is the beginning of devotion. I really like that.
Okay, we can send her down for a couple of minutes. I know I need to after that last meeting, and then we'll get.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a little tea while we're at it too.
Okay, I know that was short, but we'll go ahead and get started since we're kind of running late. So I was thinking, since Anita and I are doing peace and social justice right before this one, if everyone is okay, maybe we should have the green team meetings at like 10:45 instead of 10:30 to give us just, a little buffer to wrap up the peace and social justice conversations. Is that okay with everybody?
Sure. Yeah, that's okay.
So starting next month, we'll meet at 10:45 then. Just give us a little buffer. Um, all right. So Anita, we also have you down for the April newsletter.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And what I'm working on is all about sort of waste, like how much waste goes into landfills, um, across the country. I'm sure you can speak to some of that, Carol. But what I'm wanting to focus on primarily is, provide a little bit of data around that, but then focus on like food waste, how much food is wasted, and then kind of talk a little bit about composting. Um, so that's my that's my idea. That's what I'm working on right now.
okay. I'm going to share quickly. Just you all may not know this. A second here. So I'll just share this. So when you guys write these newsletter articles, besides being in the newsletter, I also post it as a blog on our website. So, oops, that to go away. So you can see starting in July, August, all that. Um, and there's
Oh,
Ellen from last month. You can then come in here, click on one of those, and see the article that was in the newsletter so that we have a record there. And also, if anybody's just out exploring environmental things or whatever, they may stumble on our page and possibly learn a little bit from us.
Okay, cool.
Um, Now, because I did that, I lost my agenda. So, um, okay. And so on our agenda, so Anita, thank you for that on what you're going to do with the newsletter. And then just an update, Anita is going to be bringing the message April 16th, and it will be focused around a Quaker Earth Care Witness presentation called Restoring Life and Hope, Renewing Diversity, Mind, Body, and Spirit and it's Jim, is it Jim Kessler also?
Uh-huh. Yeah, Jim Kessler. Yep.
The same resource Ellen you used in your
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
So, and Anita, talked with Ministry and Council and got you on the books for that, but sometime, probably not this Sunday, because it sounds like it's going to be a little hectic with Jim Mulholland there. We will need to talk to Lee or somebody about the whole TV setup and how that's going to work
Right.
when we
Right.
get there. And I'll try to make a point to talk to Lee about it and see if he remembers how they did that last year. I know
Yeah.
Diane mentioned she knows about the TV. I don't know where it's kept or anything like that.
I
So
don't think I do either. But yeah, it's on like a rolly thing, I think. And we rolled it to the front of the meeting room so everybody could see. I just don't know how that's going to work with Zoom folks. So,
yeah, and that's where I'll talk with him. It could be,
mhm.
I could bring my personal laptop and we could show the slides from there, and I could also have my laptop on Zoom, so we're sharing the screen from my laptop of the slides while you're talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
I'll try to come up with a plan with Lee and maybe Treg. Treg's not there a lot, so it's
Hmm.
hard to count on that.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to give a reminder. So we sent out an email. Quaker Earth Care Witness is having this book event for Charisse Bach for her book on Quaker ecology. And we put 3 copies of her book. The library committee bought 3 copies of her book, which are in the Meeting House Library. I don't know if anybody's taken any of those yet. But March 14th will be sort of the book launch. And then I'm finalizing dates in April to be running a book discussion group around that book. And right now we're looking at the 4 Wednesdays in April to be when we have the book discussion group. So more to come on that. Also, and Anita, I forgot to mention this in Peace and Social Justice. We had that email this week that Phil forwarded us of I looked that group up. It was some school or organization in Mobile, Alabama, who
Oh, hmm.
this woman sent an email to Phil. Basically, her class has been doing an environmental science study project or something like that. And they came across the Fairfield website and all the links we have around environmental resources, and they really liked it. And then they kind of shared a link with us on green shopping that I added to the web page, and then emailed them back and thanked them for sharing with us. So that was kind of cool
Yeah.
to get that.
I thought it was interesting that I'm not quite sure, what they searched for, or what their method was, but I thought it was interesting that ours came up.
Hmm. Of course, I can be kind of paranoid, and I'm like, I hope this is legitimate
Yeah.
because, I sent that email back and I emailed her directly and I never got anything back. So
Hmm.
we'll see. I'm going to skip ahead a little in my agenda. So we also sent out the email around the spring hike, which will be April 15th at Brown County State Park. And I know Anita has signed up. We've got about 10 people so far. Sue and Scott Walton have expressed interest, but they haven't registered on the form yet. But it'll be at Brown County State Park, and we will have lunch at the restaurant in the A. Martin Lodge. And the trail we settled on, Anita, listening to your concerns, we picked one trail that will be going around Straw Lake, which is a pretty small little lake, and it's a pretty flat trail. It's about 1.5 miles. We'll do that, and then if people, after we eat, if people want to do more, I've got some recommendations of things they could do that, maybe a little more rugged or will
Yeah.
have more wildflowers to look at.
I think that's great because I think, um, you know, I, I think that was a area where I felt, I mean, me too, but from others, disappointment in not being all able to do the hike together last time. So yeah, I think it's great, and I would be afraid for people not to come, thinking, oh, it's going to be, too strenuous of a hike. So, I um, want people to know that, yeah, what you've laid out would be a real reasonable hike for folks.
Yeah, and this time, unlike Turkey Run, Laura and I went to Brown County State Park a week or two ago and kind of scouted. I had called the park office and talked to a naturalist, and he gave me some suggestions, and we kind of checked those out. And uh, even one of them he said would be easy was not easy. It had really steep steps that you have to climb down, and I don't think it would work. And then another option he gave was just really a very small circle to walk around right at the park office. It's not really anything either, but I think I've hiked this particular trail many times. We may not see a lot of wildflowers there, but it's a nice little hike by
Hmm.
the lake,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
I think that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
and then something that came up after I sent out this agenda. So Josiah Hostetler, who's one of our new members, he works with an organization called Center for Interfaith Cooperation, and they are partnering with Butler for a film series. And the last film in the series is a climate change film called The Magnitude of All Things. And they're going to have a panel discussion after the film. And he approached me and Anita to see if one of us wanted to be on the panel or not. And I was actually pretty excited about it. So um, I wanted to be on it, but would defer to Anita if she wanted to do it instead. So I'm going to be on that panel, and I think that's March 29th.
I said no thanks. I'd like to be there, but have at it, Jeff.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm really kind of excited about that. So,
Yeah, I'm excited to see the film for sure, and then see what the panel's kind of all about. I think it's awesome. And also, I don't maybe you already said this, but it's free to the public too, free and open to the public. Yeah.
there, in my emails with the woman running it, um, they're going to be sending out Monday. It's called Eventbrite. It's a website that you'll find all kinds of events on. They're going to post it on Eventbrite for folks to sign up. And once I have that, I'll send it out to the meeting for anybody that's interested. Um, so all of that, and then I was going to go over. So last time we met, we kind of set some goals for 2023, and I was going to kind of go through where we are with some of those goals. So the first thing I wanted to do when we first put this group together, I wrote up a mission statement. And I kind of wanted to review that because after the last meeting, Laura and I talked afterwards, and she wanted to make sure she understood really what is this group about? What are we doing? So, and this kind of goes back to Anita to what our name is about.
Mm,
So when we put this together, what I wrote down as the mission statement was Quaker Spice stewardship calls us to protect and care for the earth, promote environmental, economic, and social sustainability, promote social justice, and recognize the need for equal access to resources. The Fairfield Green Team will help discern and implement ways meeting operations can become more environmentally sustainable. We will encourage and empower fellow members and attenders to make similar commitments to environmental stewardship in their own lives. And we will offer opportunities and resources to connect creation care with spirituality, advocate for environmental issues within the community, and encourage a love and reverence for the natural world. So I still think that's a pretty good mission statement. I don't know if there's any changes we'd want to make to it, but it is something I think when we're doing what we're doing as part of this group, to maybe keep that in mind, that mission statement of, it's a pretty broad area of things we're
mhm.
doing. So I just kind of wanted to read through that. Are there any questions about it?
I don't have anything. I'm trying to, I don't know if you're doing some minutes, Jeff. I was trying to do some minutes in case you weren't being leading the meeting. Can you forward that to me or direct me where I can find it and I'll just include that in minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Jeff, is that also on our blog that you've put together?
It I think it is. Let me go back
Okay.
there and look.
Yeah,
I
because
think it's
I was gonna say I can get it from that if that's the case.
um, give me a second here. Yeah, pretty much. I'll still forward you what I have in this document, Anita,
Okay.
on the Fairfield website under Green Team. It's more or less there because we had a sign up form with it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it in any way align with the Quaker Earth Care Group? Does it Earth Care Witness?
Yeah, I mean, Anita and I are both members of Quaker Earth Care Witness, but
I don't
This
know
is
if that
separate.
matters or not. It just was, I don't know if that's important or not, but
I don't think
we
so.
communicate out things that Quaker Earth Care Witness shares with us, but
Okay.
we're not really affiliated with them. We're a subcommittee of Peace and Social Justice at Fairfield.
okay,
Um,
that makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, Other goals we had, energy audit. So we have talked a lot about having an energy audit at Fairfield in this group, and I feel like we're finally starting to get a little bit of motion going with that. So I had emailed Jim McClung to learn who the electric company is for Fairfield, and he told me, but he also had a lot of questions about what we were trying to do as a trustee, which
Mm-hmm.
made perfect sense. So this past week, I attended the trustees meeting, and Anita's on that committee, and basically sort of informed the trustees, which, by the way, hilarious meeting with Jan yelling at Ralph about his hearing aid and to crank it up so he can hear, but informed the trustees about what an energy audit would really mean and how, we're wanting to do it in a cost-effective way so the meeting wouldn't have to pay anything for it and all that sort of thing. Basically, to inform them and also kind of get their approval to move forward with getting an energy audit, which I didn't think about when we first talked about it, but now I realize is a good idea. We don't want to surprise the trustees with, oh, hey, there's going to be a company coming and
Mm-hmm,
poking under all this stuff, so
mm-hmm.
it was good to talk to them and get them on board. And now I know the company involved, and Faith in Place has not really gotten back to me about resources, but Dinah had mentioned Western Yearly Meeting. You can apply for a grant for, I think, up to $2,000 that would probably be enough to cover any expense for an energy audit. So that is moving forward, and I'll continue to provide updates on that every month. March and April are super busy for me, so I'm not sure how much I'll get done until May, but I'll continue to try to move that forward. And then Anita, it's probably still a little early, but we have adding additional plantings to the pollinator garden as one of our goals. Is there any updates on that?
Mm-hmm. Not really. I mean, I've started to think about it, and actually just kind of think about, I mean, I guess I'm just thinking of Becky McClung had kind of been sort of my co-conspirator on that with regard to what we're planning. And so I think probably my next step is, well, I've been looking to see if everything looks like it's going to come back that we planted last year. And so far, everything looks good. One of the little bushes on the east side, east side, look, I'm hoping it's coming back. All the other ones had obvious, like, nice new buds on the bushes, and I could see some green stuff coming from the other plantings. But just kind of looking to see how those are faring this spring, and then continuing on with our plans on additional planting. So, I think my next step is probably just having a chat with Becky, what her thoughts are, and are we still, in alignment on the things that we want to try to get planted. So, uh, but not much other than that. A little bit early so far. So,
Anita, just a reminder, at one point you were maybe interested in some Russian sage. I'll have plenty of starts for you if you
yes,
want that.
yes, we did plant some. We did plant 2 or 3 maybe, but so I might want to see how those are doing to see where and how many additional we might need. But I know the pollinators love the Russian sage, so it's not a native, but it's also not invasive. So and considering the pollinators love it, I think those are good additions. So thank you.
So do you expect, I mean, I assume then May will probably be kind of a busy month of planning new things, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll just kind of wait and see, I think. See what's available out there too. There's a gal that goes to the, or at least she was last year, that goes to the Danville Farmers Market, and she grows some stuff in a small plot of her own that she sells there. And she has some great stuff that I'd like to take advantage of if possible, because her prices are really good. Because some, aside from transplanting, if you buy, sometimes buying, in season at full price can be kind of pricey. So, but her stuff is pretty good. So, and if she doesn't come to the market, I have her contact information, because I actually went and visited her place to look around and see what other things she might have. So,
Okay. Well,
Kind
we
of a segue to that. I went to a restaurant, I'm thinking it's in Plainfield. It was all about bees, and it had honey, and I'm just kind of wondering, maybe doing I don't know, event or some kind of something to about bees. I know they're only one of the pollinators, but just throwing that out there. Not sure why, but
Like what kind of event are you thinking?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know bees are challenged for different. I know there's lots of
Mhm.
different kinds of bees, but
Mhm.
we're doing this garden. But if we're doing it to promote the pollinators, then maybe some kind of exploration of
There,
what pollinators need.
I will say part of the presentation that I'm going to do on the 16th sort of touches on pollinators, because it's all about a prairie restoration that this Jim Kessler had done. So that does touch on that, I will say, which also I think is a wonderful segue. Maybe that gets people excited about, and like the light bulb goes off. Oh, pollinator garden. I see why, that type of thing. Hopefully.
there is an annual event called the Great American Bee Count that I've sent out in past years info to the meeting about, and we might be able to take advantage of that as explaining part of our pollinator garden, but also promoting the bee count. Basically, you sit in your pollinator area for a certain period of time and you count how many bees you see, and then you report that back to this national organization that tracks rise and fall of the bee population. That's what got me started planting the sunflowers, because this group was promoting sunflowers as a great attractor for bees.
Yeah.
And so that could be something too. But I'm also now really interested in what this restaurant is in Plainfield. Do you remember the
Well,
name?
yeah, let me try to find that while we're on here. And yeah, just got a lot of honey there, and it was just nice.
Yeah, I'd like to know about that.
I know when we were doing the gardening group, I have information. It might take me a while to find it. It was some bee place that was local. And I had thought about it as a future, place to meet and have a field trip for the gardening group. But that might be something that, when I locate it, that if we'd be interested in doing it too.
There is that Hunter's bee farm, kind of between Martinsville and Mooresville.
That might have been it.
They have a tree farm too. We've gone there and gotten Christmas trees before.
Okay. It was somewhere, seems like it was south, but I've got information on it, but we never, got around to doing it, but just a thought. But I'd be interested in the name of that restaurant too.
I am. Well, I thought maybe I had found it, but this restaurant's in Illinois, so that probably not it. But yeah, Carol, if you think of the name of that restaurant, let us know. Maybe we could all go there sometime. Okay, next on the agenda. So we also have, what is our compost system going to be? Probably no update for that right now, I'm guessing, since we talked about it last month, but I'll just bring it up each month as we.
So that's one of the reasons behind what I chose as my newsletter topic. So I wanted to kind of try to get some information out there about composting, and then yeah, it probably will be a next step in talking to trustees about that as well, like placement, because I have an idea. So here, my idea is if you go out the kitchen to the back and to the left, there's sort of a patio. So there's the patio off the kitchen door, and then there's another one to the left if you're looking out the kitchen doors. And there's a big patch of grass in front of that patio. And I kind of felt like that would be a great place to locate a couple of compost bins because it would be hidden from the road. So maybe not everybody and his brother would think they're going to throw things in there, but also in a position where I think it would get enough of good sun for the heat factor for the composting. So that's kind of my idea. Um, so that's kind of the next step. And I haven't given it much effort recently just because I'm got too dang much going on. So
And I'll say, talking
anyway.
about the sun, Laura and I on Sunday mornings driving into meeting, we've kind of looked at some areas, and there are some areas that are very shaded
Mm-hmm,
around the meeting house, that obviously would not be good. So
mm-hmm,
if you found something,
right.
that sounds good.
Well, I think on that back side, it would not get morning sun, but it would get, I think, from like noonish around all that afternoon suns, which I think it would probably be sufficient for composting bins.
Okay.
And it would be handy. People could drive up, is what I was thinking too. You can drive up, throw your stuff in the bin. So anyway,
We may have to inspect what some people put in though to make sure it's.
well, for sure. And I mean, I think that's one of the hazards, and that's part of educating people on what you can and can't put in compost. I mean, I think that would go along with it, so I'm not looking at, having this up and running very quickly because it's going to take some steps, getting approvals to do it. I don't know, maybe we don't even get approval to do it. I have no idea. But I would like to at least try because I think, I mean, like right now, Joanne brings her compost stuff to me and I just put it in my own compost bins. Um, so, I mean, I think it's definitely doable. Educate people on what can go in there. And then, every Sunday I'm happy to turn it, make sure it's, you know, you have to have to make sure it doesn't dry out exactly, that it's watered, if you will. So
Um,
anyway.
Another thing I had was, and maybe Linda Mann, you were going to look into this, the inventory of our compostable and other paper
Mm-hmm.
tableware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did find that, and we still have, let's see, we have like 61 plates. The bowls, we have 158, 155 cups, and there's 174 cutlery sets. And I've done a little bit of looking online, and it looks like there may be a bit of a growth in places that we could purchase that if we
Mm.
decide we want more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just, I think we might be able to get a little less expensive if we decide to buy more. But I remember too that at the last meeting, Dinah said that there was conversation about people being willing to bring their own, so that's also a thought. But I did check and find out we've got, at this point, I saw 61 plates that are of the compostable. And then there's some other paper plates too that
Mm-hmm.
are not part of the compostable settings. But yeah, we have quite a bit left. And like I said, there's a number of places where we could buy, like if we wanted to just get plates only, we could
Yeah.
do
Right.
that.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Sure.
I appreciate that.
Is
Mhm.
that what's left of the stuff that you had purchased, or is that inclusive of any other stuff?
That is what I purchased. And I
Okay.
think, yeah, I mean, it looked like it was all part of the same group, but I
Uh-huh.
may have been mixing. I was going by just what it appeared to be. Yeah. So if there's more, I'm not aware of it. I didn't see it.
Well, I understood there to be more, and I was going to look into that, and I've got to make a note to myself to do that. That's upstairs in one of the loft storage areas.
Okay.
I will try to remember to do that, to see what's up there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
So-
at one time Anne had put this box up there and then we brought it down for, I think it was for books and brunch that we brought it down. So there may be more up there and I'm not even
Well,
aware.
I
of
think it was a different bunch that had been purchased previously, but then was not used.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway,
That's-
and I just want to read, so, Fairfield took a position on using styrofoam stuff. And I took a photo of it because I want to figure out, and maybe I'll put this in part of the newsletter thing that I'm doing, because it's hanging in the kitchen, by the way.
mhm,
I think it's hanging in the kitchen. Please respect the environment. Fairfield Friends discourage the use of styrofoam items. When using Fairfield's table service, wash, dry, and put it away. Take reusable towels and tablecloths home, launder them, so on and so forth. When using paper or other disposable items, recycle them if possible. So, we've made a statement that says we discourage the use of styrofoam. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's written. It's in writing.
Mhm.
So,
So, yeah, if you guys can get that extra inventory, that would be great. But thank you, Linda, for counting that.
Mhm.
That to me would probably get us through at least the next pitch in or whatever uh, with what we have. I think we do want to move towards having folks bringing their own table settings, but that's going to require some education and communication
Right.
and a plan that I'm not ready to commit to. Um,
Yeah.
and we'll always have to have some other things on hand for those folks who don't bring their own stuff. So,
Sure.
yeah.
but again, thank you for doing that because that
Mhm.
I had no idea what we had. So that shows we have a fairly nice little buffer.
Mhm.
And thank you, Carol, for putting this restaurant in the chat. It
Oh,
looks,
I missed it.
oh, it's in Danville. Okay.
Oh, I've been to that one then. Is that the one by the pizza place?
I can't remember where exactly it is, but I just remember, and I had to get my honey that I bought there because I thought
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I just looked at their mission statement and how they came about, and I thought that's a nice story.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe we can, as a group, meet there sometime.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Other things on the agenda. So the next thing we had was how we should use our rain barrel that we already have, or rain barrels. Are there any updates on that? I know I haven't looked into it.
No.
Okay.
That might be a good topic for a newsletter article, though, if we want to educate the meeting,
It might, yeah, it would be. Um, and then, and I guess this summer, as you're doing things with the pollinator garden and stuff, we'll understand better how our current setup works and all of that.
Mhm.
Then the last thing I had on the goals for the year was an overall education plan. And Laura, you had kind of brought that up last time we met. Um, I don't think we have any updates today. I think, the newsletter articles and the emails we're sending out are a good start. Maybe kind of like how we're doing in Peace and Social Justice, Anita, where we're trying to get sort of like a monthly theme. Maybe we can start to look at an environmental topic each month or every couple of months
Mhm.
that we then focus the newsletter article on, maybe in promoting a book or event or something like that, where folks can learn more. If I go to this Creation Fest thing in April, I might might learn some stuff there on how they're educating
Yeah,
people.
that'd be good.
I was thinking of like, I don't know how this would work, but like in the newsletter or something, just to like, did you know, with a little snippet of a fact.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes if it's too much information, people will just gloss over it and or they won't get it. So just like a little, just start pumping out this information, these facts, and gradually something will sink in, you
I
know?
like that idea. Yeah. In fact, the start of my article for the newsletter is a did you know? With some like, did you know how much waste we produce, every year, blah, that
Mhm.
type of thing. I like that. But like in every newsletter, just a little blurb that said, did you know? And just a fact. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
cool.
like,
I
in
do
thinking
too.
about that, it's a good thing to share too. Maybe, did you know that Fairfield has compostable table setting things, or whatever you want to call it, that we're using at our kitchens and things like that? And
Mm-hmm.
so,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
okay.
think
like
that's
that.
good too.
Yeah.
But you're committing yourself now to helping me write some of this stuff.
Well, ideally, since the newsletter is typically, well, it's digital, if you can put a link to something, if people want to know more about that topic, hit the link and go, oh, wow, there's more.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we can educate gradually with these kind of things in the newsletter. And then at some point, maybe reminders might work. I know, like when we collect things, whether it's the pop tab tops, the amber pit medicine bottles, stamps, the different things that we collect for donations, it's nice to have a list of those just as a ongoing reminder. And
Mm-hmm.
possibly once we get them educated, we could just, put little lists in like, remember to bring your compost, remember to bring your serviceware for our dinners, and remember, and all of these things that we've been educating them about, but it takes reminders. I know even for me, and I know we have reminders to bring these other items for donations, so we could have our little green reminders too.
Yeah,
I like it.
Mhm.
Okay, that sounds good. So then, Anita, do you want to try to start the did you know part as part of this newsletter article you're working on?
I can do that.
And then we'll, by the
Would
time
we
we
want to, like, whenever I submit to Beth, would we want to say that goes along with the article, or to specifically put it in a different section? Or, you know what I mean? Because what I guess what I'm envisioning, and maybe we can figure out kind of like I mean, just simple as did you know, but like maybe what kind of font we want it to look like or whatever, Does it matter? I mean, it seems like we want to do something that's,
it needs to stand out a little bit
yeah,
more, because,
Be
yeah,
consistent.
yeah,
Beth is
right.
basically just sort of copying and pasting what we send her into the newsletter. So yeah, I think I would make it stand out a little bit differently, different
Okay,
font,
And
different.
maybe
put a
I'll,
box around it or something.
well, it's a good question. You think, but yeah, let me see what I can come up with, and I'll just send it out to the group, maybe. Hang on, let's see here.
And I'll just say that we've got the way Beth does things. Let's see, we got about a week and a half before she will start wanting stuff. So if we don't get it figured out this month, that's fine,
Okay, I
but
don't think that should be too bad.
because the deadline is typically the 20th, although she, will give leeway, but
Yeah,
she will send out an email probably by the 15th, starting to ask for things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm actually planning to hopefully just finish that up this weekend and have that done. So I'll work on putting some sort of, you know, did you know type thing together
Yeah, and
like
Anita,
that.
I know you know this with all the different groups, everything starts to blur together because, like, what is Fairfield and this is QEW and this
Sure
is,
does. Yep.
um,
I started putting like taking a note sheet and putting in each of my folders. So for like the things that I have to do for each of them, so I can like quickly look at it. Because otherwise, yeah.
and not really a green team thing, but by the way, I won't be at the publications meeting Monday for QEW.
Okay.
I don't really have any updates on that.
Okay. All right.
All right, so I think that takes us through the agenda. Where are we on time? Wanted to offer a little bit of like round robin time to just go around and see if there's anything anyone wants to share with us and update us on anything they're working on. And Ellen, I mean, this could be a gardening thing, anything. I will say I was working on those sort of email summary things I sent the last couple of months where I was sort of lumping all the links and news that I get into one email to send to you guys. I have not gotten that done this last month. I've just been too busy to
Yeah.
compile everything. So I don't have that.
Let's see.
I can't think of anything offhand. You talking about personally what we're doing or as the group?
Could be either thing. I
Okay.
kind of wondered, so and I haven't talked to Becky. Last year, we went down one Sunday after meeting to the observatory where the
Mhm.
daffodils are. I don't know if she wanted to do that again this year or not, but I imagine those daffodils are in bloom now.
I bet they are. I was thinking about that the other day because I couldn't go on that trip, but I did go after the fact,
Mhm.
and it was beautiful.
I've got daffodils, a few blooming, but not all of them. You know, they may need just a few more days.
Yeah.
Well, it
I,
depends on the weather too, what happens.
well, yeah.
Is
I've got
that
some daffodils that I planted and then some different tulips that I planted last year too. A friend at work gave me a whole bunch of different colors, so I can't wait for them to come up. They're coming up, but I can't wait for them to bloom. That's going to be so fun. I will share with everybody that I've had a really frustrating week for one, but also frustrating from, environmental perspective. Last spring, out here where I am at the lake, there are two lots. When you turn onto my road, there are two lots that are opposite each other on opposite sides of my road that were undeveloped. They were, just trees and, undergrowth and just lovely little natural areas. One of them had gone up for sale, and I actually called it. I was going to buy it so it would not be developed. And it was already pending when I called, which is kind of weird. I'm like, why do you put a sign up if it's already pending? But anyway, so nothing had happened. And then apparently the one on the other corner, the opposite corner, had also been for sale and was pending. There had been no sign for that one. So this whole last year, nothing happened. I thought, oh, good. Maybe the people that live next to each of those had bought them for that same reason. Apparently not. So after a frustrating week already on Tuesday, I drive into my drive, and lo and behold, each of those corner lots has just been scraped clean. All the trees cut down, all the underbrush torn out, and it made me cry because I'm like, where are the rabbits and the birds and the foxes going to go? And so last night, to top it all off, I pull in and there are 5 deer standing in one of the lots, literally just looking around like, what happened here? It made me cry again. I can't stand it. And so now every time I drive away from my house, I have to go past those, and it makes me upset every time. I don't even know what to do with that. I don't even know what to do with that. It's so sad to me. It was really upsetting, really upsetting. Ugh.
Yeah, I completely get that. I haven't had that experience where it was so personal, but when they were doing all the construction on 69 or 37/69 and driving down to Bloomington and just
Ugh.
seeing all these trees and landmarks I had known for 40 years just bulldozed, and just huge stacks of trees because
Ugh.
we're just so fascinated with pavement. We just want to pave the world. And I always found that really upsetting.
It is. I find it extremely upsetting. Yeah. So I will share another thing that I got from FCNL that has the calls to conscience, and they also send out sort of some updates on what's going on in legislation. And this one I had not read otherwise, so I thought this was very interesting. It said Interior Secretary Deb Haaland signed a 20-year moratorium on leases for mining and geothermal energy exploration in Minnesota's Superior National Forest. The Department of Interior decided on the suspension after conducting a scientific review and obtaining feedback from local and native groups like the Chippewa tribes, which hold hunting and fishing rights in the area. If the area were used for mining sulfide ore as proposed by the Twin Metals Minnesota Mining Company, nearby water sources would be at high risk of contamination. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty darn cool.
Mhm.
That's a win.
That might be the area that butts up against the Boundary Water Canoe Area Wilderness in Minnesota, because I know that's a protected area, and I know there was some companies basically wanting to come up right up to the line to start doing development and logging and all of that.
Yeah, very
That
well
might
could
help.
be. Very well could be. I'm gonna forward this to you, Jeff. Maybe you can include this in the updates. Oh, Linda actually sent this one. I get it otherwise, but Linda Bryant had actually sent this one, and you're copied on that. So
The inside the greenhouse stuff.
yeah, yep, that's what
I
that's
get
from.
those too. It's
Yeah,
most emails like that I let sit, and then like on a weekend or whatever, I go through all of it and decide if I'm going to do something.
right.
Um,
I could share just very quickly that last week I went down to IU. They had a climate conference, climate change.
Oh,
It was very interesting. And they had John Kerry actually kind of do a Zoom
wow.
talk. It was he was inspiring, of course, and encouraging. And out of this, and so of course talking about working toward goals of 2030 and still feeling many important goals can be reached, but just the seriousness of the issue. And then there was a student panel, and it was very educational, to Laura's point, and to hear these students talk. And a lot of there were like 5 young people in their 20s, early 30s, dedicating careers to this issue. One of the men was from Africa, and talking about what a difference it made in his life and his community's life when the YMCA came in and did some work. And I think maybe addressed making the water safer. So like drilling wells and things like that. I had no idea the YMCA did that kind of work. And he now works for YMCA Global. So I thought that's something I want to just research and learn more about what they're doing. But
Yeah, interesting. I never knew that
it
either.
was inspiring.
I think in general, the population doesn't connect climate change to human disasters.
Mhm.
Um, you know, sitting here in Indiana, we don't have a water shortage. Many parts in the world do. So our focus on water conservation is minimal.
Mhm.
So if we do rain barrels, I think it's important that we educate people on why is this important?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Right, because a lot of people just don't know. It's not that they
Mhm.
don't care, they just don't know.
just don't know.
Mhm.
And I think our built environment is something that I'm noticing a lot more. I know, Jeff, you mentioned the concrete and the pavement. That just so affects where our water, rain, where does it go? It can't
Mhm.
go through
Right.
the pavement. So where does it go? And we're so conditioned to feel like, okay, other people will take care of that when
Mhm.
the world is designed to naturally take care of that if we allow it. But yeah, it just climate change is really affecting more and more human populations, and hopefully
Yeah.
we'll become more aware. But
Yeah.
Kind
Well, and
of,
along with the water thing, you think something, I can't remember where I had been looking into this, but you know how, and we're in Indiana, we're in an agricultural state, you know, where runoff, agricultural runoff, and then how CAFOs, you know, the concentrated animal feeding operations, how they affect, you know, water runoff and potentially the aquifers, you know, I mean, that just is so disturbing to me.
I'll share real quick. So, my family is from Eastern Kentucky, and last year they had really devastating floods in those areas. They are just now, kind of to Carol's point, realizing that besides the fact that they're having increased rain due to climate change, the impact it's having is greater than it would have been because of all the past strip mining and everything that went on in the area. And that is a lot of
Mhm.
way the land was, you know, nature would have dealt with the water is gone because of flattening mountains and things like that, and it actually contributes and makes the flooding even worse. Um, so there, I saw some things where there some folks are looking at basically trying to find ways to sue either the federal government or these mining companies for what they've done that have made flooding worse than it would have been anyway.
Yeah. Mm.
You know.
Yeah.
But well, I think we are at time,
Mhm.
and I apologize if my energy level's not that great today, but I had a super busy day yesterday, and then Anita and I had peace and social justice, and that was pretty busy too. So
Yep.
hopefully next month I'll be a little more energetic. Um,
Mm.
Sorry, Jeff, I didn't realize that was another meeting. I thought maybe a lot of the same people, and I thought I was late. I thought maybe it started at 10, so I didn't mean to be
oh
eavesdropping.
no worries at all. It's just Anita and I decided since we were made co-clerks of peace and social justice,
Mhm.
kind of makes sense to do both of these
Okay.
meetings on the same day. And usually peace and social justice, it's just me, Anita, and maybe Joe Tsai. That
Right.
today we had more people and quite a bit of conversation. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I just thought, well, I bet it was 10 o'clock and I'm coming in a half hour late.
You weren't late.
you were right on time. Well,
it seemed
I
like a
said,
really interesting conversation about a pretty important topic. So
Yeah.
yeah, I wish we
Yeah.
had more time to really work on that. It kind of bugs me for us not to,
I know. I know. Me
but at
too.
the same time, like what you and Linda said, and I don't feel we don't need to hear from more old white guys on this topic. Um, so it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for
Okay.
attending. Next month, like I said, we'll move it back to 10:45 instead of 10:30. And then if you are interested in the hike, please sign up because hopefully it'll be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So